And once again we start off an episode with Guardian's Crusade. Last time we ended things at the Holy Shrine, the last place to rest before God's Tower. I get going west to enter the swamp. I head all the way north and then west a little to find there's another warp gate here. Instead I go east until I see normal land again, and then turn north to finally reach the bridge to God's Tower. Further ahead, Nehani sees Calkanor, Ramal and Gwynladin confronting a guy with green hair and a red cape. This is Carmine. Calkanor says that even if Carmine manages to unseal something called Shizan, they have all the holy stones so they can seal it back again. Calkanor tells Gwynladin to arrest Carmine, but Gwynladin instead hands the holy stones over to Carmine. It turns out Gwynladin was working for Carmine from the beginning and his real name is Glor. Yeah, I'd give myself a new name too. Ramal is furious, but Calkanor is still confused until Carmine spells it out for him. Glor has tricked Calkanor and Ramal into gathering all the stones for Carmine under the lie that doing so would save the world. Carmine has one last task for Glor, and this one Glor is not happy with. He removes Glor's intelligence and walks away as he transforms into a giant skeletal dragon. I get to watch a battle between him and Calkanor. He starts with a fire breath dealing over 200 damage, while Calkanor responds with an attack for similar damage. Glor then slashes Calkanor with his claws for another 200. The two continue to trade attacks until Calkanor falls over defeated. Next he targets Ramal. Ramal has spells to heal herself with, but Glor's attacks vastly outpace them. She goes down even quicker. Having watched the two who just defeated us back in Garan be taken out, Knight and Baby step up next. Glor has 1560 HP, and his only attacks are the fire breath and claw swipe we saw him use on Calkanor and Ramal. I start with Tough Wall on Baby and then I bring out Contributor who deals over 250 damage. It seems Knight and Baby are tougher than Calkanor and Ramal, as Glor's attacks don't even deal over 100 damage to them. I next bring out Windmeister and he's very quickly defeated, with Contributor getting the final blow. Seeing the state Calkanor and Ramal are in, Nehani gets the idea to return to Aruvin's sanctuary and have him help. I return there to find that Aruvin is now awake. Aruvin already knows what has happened and has had his assistants pick them up and take them to Triskan to heal. When Nehani asks how he knows, he changes the subject and says he fears for the life of another holy creature. This news makes Baby try to run off alone again before Nehani stops him and makes him say what's wrong. He tells her that something terrible is going to happen at God's Tower. He doesn't want to put Knight and Nehani in danger, so he's going to go alone. Of course, that doesn't fly and they're going with Baby no matter what. Before we leave, Aruvin gives us the living toy Gabriel. It fully heals Knight and Baby for 50 PP. It's a lot right now, but very soon into this video, PP isn't going to be a worry anymore. And so we run back to God's Tower. Like Aruvin said, Calkanor and Ramal are no longer here, so I can cross the bridge and get inside. In this first room I go east from the centre into another room. It has a chest containing Miracle Armour, a 4-point upgrade over my Onyx Armour. Back in the centre of the last room I go west into another. This room's chest has a Miracle Sword, 5 points stronger than the Onyx Sword. And then back in the first room I take the northern door for a chest with a Miracle Shield inside, 4 points more than the Onyx Shield. Back in the centre of the first room I take the stairs to the west going up. It leads to a chest with a spinach snack inside, then back down and up the stairs to the east. This next room is just going clockwise up several sets of stairs. I get the only new enemy in this place, the Hangry. Killing these first two gets me over 10,000 XP and Knight to level 42. I then reach the end of the screen and move to the next. More clockwise stair climbing. Halfway up this screen is a chest with a Snoozeweed inside. Next screen. More clockwise stair climbing, with the first battle getting Baby to level 42. Halfway up this screen is a hole in the wall where I can rest and save for free. Up the stairs from the rest hole is a chest with a fire ring inside, which I have replaced the Cobra ring. Now I decide it's the best time to farm money to max out all the items at Zed Harbour, since I have a feeling the moment I lose access to its shops is coming soon. I have enemies granting huge amounts of XP and money, and a free healing spot close by. My next recording starts when I've maxed out my money at 999,999 rubies. Knight has reached level 58 and Baby has reached level 57 in that time. Next comes a huge journey back to the southwestern corner of the continent and then the long water bug ride to Zed Harbour. With the money I've built up, I max out the item counts for Pirate Sword, Sage Sword, Viking Sword, Laminated Armour, Brigand Armour, Studded Armour, Viking Armour, Wooden Helmet, Iron Helmet, Full Shield, Pirate Shield, Studded Shield, Viking Shield, Candy Bar, Hamburger, Cheeseburger, Peach Potion, Bubblegum, Terra Seed, Go-Go Bean and Snoozeweed. My remaining money then gets me 30 Brave Rings. That's 21 maxed out items from one cycle. The rest aren't gonna get me that much. Next recording I finally discovered my Elgato removed my brightness settings and fixed them. The next time my money is maxed, both Knight and Baby are level 80. This spending spree maxes out Brave Rings and gets me 30 Wake Rings. On my way back through Triscan, I'd built up enough money to buy a Ring of Calm, which prevents confusion when equipped. Next money grind gets Knight and Baby to level 102. Yep, the game's levels go past 100. I never got a consistent answer on what the actual level cap is. The highest the game's code allows is in the 65,000s, but it's not actually possible through regular gameplay. I've heard 3 different caps, in the 32,000s, 10,000 and 9,999. Starting to get why I never maxed levels yet? Although as you'll find out next episode, I gave it a bloody good go. You only need to be about level 50 to beat the game, I think. I maxed out the Wake Ring, Mystical Sword, Smash Sword, Rain Sword and by 4 Elven Swords with what was left. Next grind gets both of them to level 125. I maxed out Elven Sword, Eelskin Armour, Rock Plate, Neptune's Armour, Elven Sword, Viking Helmet, Eelskin Shield, Marble Shield, Oyster Shield and get 72 Elven Shield before I run out. Then I get them both to level 147 with the next grind. I max out Elven Shield and get 97 Cobra Rings. Then my bastard Elgato reverted the brightness settings on its own again. Knight got to level 170 and Baby to level 169. I max out Cobra Rings and get 97 Heat Rings. This was the last item to max out here, so I grinded out at sea to quickly buy the last 3. I skimmed over that pretty quick I'd say, but that was 2 days of grinding. By the time I make it back to God's Tower to save, both Knight and Baby have reached level 171. With all that done, I finally go up the stairs to the next screen. There's this giant red thing that welcomes Baby back to his home. However, Carmine hacks in and reboots it, making it attack us. Anzo has 1170 HP. Its first attack confuses Baby, but by this point Baby is doing over 300 damage with an attack, while Knight is doing 500 due to all the level ups. The double digit damage we receive also doesn't inspire worry, now I have over 13,000 HP. Yeah, my grind has obliterated the remaining challenge in this game, but steamrolling over an RPG with an overpowered party has its own satisfaction. Anzo drops the living toy Dark Cross. It reduces everyone's resistance to light elemental damage. I then take the teleporter to the next screen. It leads to more clockwise stair climbing. Knight reaches level 172 from the first battle here. There's a chest with a peach potion on the way up and I move on to the next screen. More clockwise stairs and then the next screen with even more. This one has a chest with a spinach snack. Right after, Baby reaches level 172. On the next floor there's another robot waiting for us. Lanzo tells Baby that Celestia was worried about him, before Carmine also takes this one over. Lanzo has 1390 HP, and also in battle its name is listed as Ranzi instead. Gotta love the gigantic triple laser only doing 1 damage to Knight. 4 hits is all it takes to bring this one down. Lanzo drops the living toy Holy Cross, which reduces everyone's resistance to dark elemental damage. The teleporter takes me to a room with a few more stairs to the top floor. But we're too late, as we see Carmine standing over a dragon bleeding out onto the floor. Carmine is confused, as he was led to believe that Shizan was sealed inside this dragon. He reasons that she must have given the final Holy Stone to the Stork. Baby is devastated to see his mother lying cut open and runs up to her face to try and wake her up. Okay, I admit that got me to feel something. It's seeing those witnessing personal tragedy but aren't capable of fully comprehending it or understanding why it's happening, like really young kids or animals. That gets me. Carmine realises that Celestia hid the final stone in Baby and flew him away with the Stork. He takes the stone, wounding Baby and undoing the seal on Shizan, the god of darkness, who he intends to have under his control. While undoing the seal, he reveals his full name to be Artema Carmine. He orders all of his followers, the ones running his cult, to mutate into monsters. He's interrupted by Darkbeat and Ikbi. Carmine says they are too late and his followers, powered by Shizan, will completely take over the world for him. We also learn that he was the one who turned Ikbi into a dragon dinosaur walrus. The two of them then take on Carmine while we watch, but we can see the two don't have much of a chance when their attacks only do a third of the damage Carmine's does. His signature attack is Phoenix Dive, a bit like M. Bison's Psycho Crusher. Ikbi is taken out first and Carmine targets Darkbeat with another attack, Checkmate, which calls lightning down on Darkbeat. It's not long before he's down too. Darkbeat still demands Carmine change Ikbi back, to which Carmine says that Darkbeat was stronger when he was still working for him. He also says that the only way to restore Ikbi's true form is to kill him. After just standing still gawking at everything, Knight finally gets involved. Carmine has 2550 HP. Since I'm alone, I do start by bringing out Contributor, who deals a massive 850 damage on the opening attack. I then attack for over 400, and then Contributor follows up by dealing over 1100, taking out Carmine and winning me the fight without being hit. Carmine is in complete disbelief at his loss, but says it's too late to stop Shizan's return. He commands Shizan to take him and bring darkness to the world. He then disappears. I talk to Baby, which makes Nahani also break down at how unfair the loss of his mother is after everything he went through to get here. Celestia is still just barely alive though, and calls out to Baby. She casts some sort of magic onto Baby and heals him. But that took the last of her strength, and when Baby walks back up to her, she's already gone. Darkbeat starts to get up, and in the middle of thanking Knight for his help, God's tower starts to shake. It's the unsealing of Shizan. Darkbeat tells us we have to leave, but Baby wants to stay with his mum. Nahani talks him around and we go to leave. The voice of the old man who gave Knight his quest tells Celestia that she did well and not to worry, as Knight and Baby will definitely finish the job. Everyone's made it to the entrance, and Darkbeat tells Ikki to carry Knight and Baby away on her back. There isn't enough space for them all, so Darkbeat intends to stay to give the others a chance to escape. But Baby has other ideas and has Knight get on his back. Celestia has granted Baby the ability to fly. And so Baby carries Knight and Ikki carries Darkbeat as God's tower is annihilated behind them, knocking them away, and Shizan appears in its place. He grows wings from his back and flies off into the sky. I hear a voice say that it will still take some time for Shizan to restore his full strength. Another voice says that Shizan can be sealed again, but Carmine has all the holy stones and Knight still hasn't reached his full potential. So Darkbeat says they should start looking for the holy armour, but after God's tower, Darkbeat's in no condition to be going anywhere. The screen fades in on Darkbeat telling Ikki this place is Picard and it's safe. It also has some really nice music. He says Knight and Baby are probably in the next room. Said next room is a huge mess of cubes with upside down crystal pyramids as stairs, and it's just Knight, no Baby or Nahani. I get confused navigating the cubes in the corner to find a chest containing the living toy Versailles. This weakens everyone in the battle so that they take double damage. I leave this room into a big central room where I go east through another door. I go up the stairs and talk to the Picardian, who says that the party is now the only hope now Celestia is gone. I can also rest for free here. Back in the central room, I take the door in the southeast corner. Nahani's in here and so is Baby. Since they weren't conscious for Darkbeat's explanation, none of them know where they are. Next room I check out is the one in the southwest corner. Up the stairs in the corner is a chest containing a full plate. It's 1 point stronger than the miracle armour. Next comes a northwest room. This is Darkbeat's room. He says that if he knew Baby was Celestia's child, he could have worked with us to prevent Shizan's return. But with Baby having inherited some of Celestia's power, there's still hope. There are 4 pieces of the holy armour of Darwin to find. Darkbeat can't do it this time as the fight with Carmine has left him in an awful state. We've heard the name Darwin before, long ago. His grave was on the mountain road between San Claria and the Cave of Fear. All 4 pieces are scattered around the world. I just have to find them while he rests and bring them to him so that he can do the rest, since he is the chosen one. He also gives Knight a working warp gate key, so I can now use them. Back in the central room I take the eastern door and can finally get some information on what Picard is. It's a citadel containing the knowledge of many lost races, including the original Picardians. Another one says that it is impossible to seal Shizan in the same way he was previously. The only solution remaining is to destroy him completely. Next I try the western room, which leads to a library. Nahani says they may find some information on the holy armour here. In the southwestern corner of the room is some stairs to the Book of Legends. I get to learn that Shizan was first summoned by a cruel race known as the Kalajic and laid waste to a huge amount of the world until Darwin showed up with the holy gems and sacred servants sent by God and sealed him away into a crystal. We even get to see a recap of it, showing the scope of Shizan's power as he wipes whole cities from existence. He's stopped by the sea serpent we saw in the Zephyr, along with Ruval, the Winged Lion, the Galestalk and Celestia, all those who held a stone. And riding Celestia is Darwin, who looks a lot like a more mature knight. He throws a sword right into Shizan's eye before the 5 servants perform the seal. I find a book on the holy armour, telling me where the pieces are. In the Nord Temple in an icy land, in Kerpel, in Castle Ryan, and in Denim under a great tree. Only Kerpel is a place I've been before. There's the Book of Seals that explains that demons can be sealed by placing the 5 holy stones in a pyramid position, explaining how exactly Darwin sealed Shizan and why Kalkanor were searching for them. There's also the Book of Prophecy, explaining that Celestia sending her child away with the stone when danger comes was something decided centuries ago. But Nahani notes a part about tears of love and Solomon's power being used to trade one life for another. She says her mother used to sing her a song with the same words and told her that Solomon would make dreams come true. And when it comes to the name Solomon, we have a Solomon's ring, which fairies had a use for, but Nahani won't tell us. Back in the central room, I can enter the middle of the room to go upstairs. This floor leads to 4 rooms in each of the cardinal directions. First is east for a chest containing the Great Sword, 1 point stronger than the Miracle Sword. Then south, which just gets an empty ruin. North gets me a chest with a steel shield, 1 point stronger than the Miracle Shield. And the western room has nothing, so I go down a floor. I can now take the southern door in the central room, which is actually a warp gate. There are 8 doorways in here. I take the southern one, which turns out to be the one on Jungo Island I found last episode. Most people around the world have seen Shizan flying around, not surprising considering how huge he is. Bonnick's shop, the Bonnick, is finally open. Finding out all the ships were sunk so he's unlikely to have many customers has him beg Knight to buy anything from him. Despite claiming to give me a discount, he sells weapons at exorbitant prices. I buy the 62,000 ruby platinum sword, the strongest sword in the game, 29 points stronger than the Great Sword. I also inspect one of his barrels for a spinach stack. There's also a hint towards a side quest that doesn't exist. The fool who let me name his child is without work thanks to all the ships being sunk. Nehani says we should help him out, but we can't actually do anything about it. Back inside the warp gate, I take the northeastern one. This one leads into Gallic's basement in Carmarthen. He's just happy we proved his theories correct. I return to the mine. I talk to the miner in the northeast corner who found another living toy, so he gives it to me, Voodoo Doll. It kills one enemy every 4 turns, but at this point I can kill most things quicker than that. Back into the warp gate, I take the southwestern gate to exit east of Den Heldar. Everyone is very pessimistic about their chances of surviving Shizan here. Even an old man who says he's lived through several bad situations thinks this is it for him. There's a detective in the middle of town who's all, "Fuck this, I'm out, I'm going home," and gives me the living toy Sermon. If this is brought out before a party member death, it will automatically revive them. I return to Jungo, and now Baby can fly, I can make him do it from the menu. Flying is much more convenient than using Chester, as I can start flying from any outdoor spot. I cannot land inside towns however, but that's barely a problem. The flying theme is also so much better than Chester's. Always love that bit in a classic RPG where you get your form of flight after a dark moment and it plays one of the game's best tracks. It's predictable, but it works on me nearly every time. We now have full freedom over the world and can travel anywhere we want, but there's some unfinished business in a few old towns. Remember, Carmine ran the Artema cult, which operated in many towns, and he commanded them to mutate into demons before he disappeared. So first I return to Zed Harbour to find it overrun by demons. By the docks is the lead demon, Bosme, who orders the rest of them to kill all the humans. They spread out around the town and I have to track them down. The first one is right behind me cornering a sailor. I kill the Beakwing in 2 hits. It is kind of funny that they have the danger music playing uninterrupted in town and through the battles, but the victory fanfare is still too powerful and overrides it. The next Beakwing has another sailor cornered near the governor's house. They all have the same HP, so they all die in 2 hits. Next one is in the northeast corner outside the church. Killing this one gets Knight to level 173. Slightly to the south is the last Beakwing. With them all dead, I return to Bosme. He has 2500 HP. It's quite a bit, and while I'm under no threat, I still bring out Contributor to speed things up. Bosme's signature attack is to snot over the entire party. Nice. He's dead in 2 turns. And that's Zed Harbour freed. It looks like the governor is thankful for my help, but under his breath he says he's just flattering me to secure a future vote. I'm not even a Zed Harbour citizen, I can't vote for him regardless. He also rewards me with the living toy Cheer Girl. This boosts my attack power, as if I have to worry about that at this level. The shops have closed out of fear of another demon attack, so I maxed out all the items at the best possible time. Next I fly all the way to Triscan, having only just learned I can display a map in the corner of the screen. This place is also under attack by the Artema cult. First I take out the wing beak attacking the recruiter. The second one is around the corner from the weapon shop. The third one is rampaging around the fountain in the town square. The fourth is by the western gate, and the fifth is just around the corner from it. The sixth wing beak is in front of the castle gates, and the seventh is just east of the bridge leading to them. Killing this one gets Baby to level 173. The eighth and final wing beak is to the west of the weapon shop. In front of the inn is the sorcerer commanding them, Org. Org has 1000 HP, but he starts by summoning a giant bird, Velmine, to take me on. Velmine has 1600 HP and a fire attack, but I take it down in no time while Org uses his one attack on me. I turn to him and take him down in a couple hits too. With this town saved, I go talk to the king, who's been filled in on everything by Ramal when she and Kalkanor were brought here. He gives me the living toy Generosity, which when used gives me either money or an item at the end of the battle. Kalkanor and Ramal are resting upstairs. Despite there being 2 beds, Kalkanor has to recover on a chair for some reason. Both of them are in no condition to do anything else. Next town to revisit is Garum, since it also had an Artema church here. These lot haven't attacked the town yet, but I still inspect the church. I listen in and hear monster voices, so I go inside and talk to the cult member. She accidentally outs herself when she mentions being mid-mutation, so I take down another Peakwing. Knight reaches level 174. That's all, and I've cleared out the cult's presence in Garum. By inspecting the statue, I can pick up an infinite supply of spinach stacks, so I max out on those. I go to leave, missing an important treasure I'll have to come back for later. Next place to revisit on our world tour is Kerpel. There's nothing new with the people here, so I go back into the Ugonga Shrine. In the room where I fought Ugonga, I can now go north for a new exit in the back. I cross a long bridge and reach a teleporter in the back that responds to the warp gate key. There's a guardian in here like the one in the North Tower. This one is protecting a piece of holy armour. The guardian has 1600 HP, and since I'm so powerful I just very quickly beat it down. This lets me open the chest containing the holy helmet. The Zepeto helmet is still stronger though. Next time I go northeast of Kerpel and directly east of Den Heldar to find this castle I couldn't reach before Baby could fly. This is Castle Ryan. From the entrance I go all the way east into another room. I then follow this room into another. In this next room I go all the way south to another, then west to another. In the middle of this room is a chest containing a spinach snack, and then go north through the doorway slightly north of it. This leads to a corridor with a few rooms to the north and south. In the first room on the south is a chest with a sickweed inside. In the north room I get my first battle, as most enemies are terrified of me at this level. It's a new one, a swordster. The chest in this room gets me an earth ring, which makes me stronger against wind damage. Going further west there are 2 more rooms. Baby reaches level 174 and I open the chest for a toadstool. The north room has a cheeseburger. Moving west some more I face my first dark demon. Next pair of rooms. South gets me a toadstool and north gets me a spinach snack. Going west some more then leads down some stairs to another screen. I go west and north, Knight reaching level 175. Then I turn east into another room. There's a chest with the living toy assassin, which is Mr. O'Neill with a machine gun who has a chance to instantly kill an enemy. There's also this guy down here, the No Owl. He says that if I want to reach the heart of the castle I need to turn on all 4 red switches. He also offers me a free rest and save. With that I use Foreman to return to the castle entrance and get moving directly south until I go through a doorway. It leads to a chest containing a dark plate, but it's weaker than my full plate. I face my first Iron Golem here and go southeast from the chest and up some stairs into a room that leads to a chest with the living toy Classique. This puts everything to sleep. There's also a red switch here that I press. Nahani thinks it's broken, but No Owl did say to press all 4. Back in the previous room, I go up the stairs in the northeast corner. This room has a chest with the living toy Confuser, which confuses everyone, and the second switch to press. To the previous room again and up the stairs in the northwest corner. This time the chest gets me the living toy Dr. Gas, which poisons everyone. I also press the third switch. Finally at the southwest corner, where I press the 4th switch and hear movement elsewhere. The chest gets me the living toy Freaks, which inflicts terror on everyone. That's all the corners, but there's still some side rooms I can reach as well. In the previous room was a doorway to the west leading to a chest that gets me a dark sword. I already had the strongest sword in the game, so any new ones I find will be downgrades. There's a side room to the east with a chest containing a dark shield. I then return to the previous room again and go south of the chest into a new doorway leading to another teleporter leading to another guardian. This guardian has 1800 HP and takes just 4 hits to kill, getting Baby to level 175. The chest it leaves behind contains the Holy Sword. The legendary sword required to take on an unstoppable demon is weaker than the one I can just buy from a shop. That's all for this place, so I leave. I travel a long distance north to this field east of Orgor village across a river. This is Deneen Plains and I run around this giant tree stump looking for a way inside. First thing I do is go west into another room. It gets me a chest with quilted armour inside. Back to the entrance and south into another room. The chest in here gets me the living toy resetter, which resets the battle to the beginning if things aren't going your way. Then back to the entrance and east into another room, then a short tunnel to another. First I go north in this room for a chest with a spinach snack, and then south and east to another room. Another tunnel with nothing in it, and then another, just going deeper and deeper. It leads to another tree stump, but behind it is a chest with a twisted shield. I then go through the crack in the tree stump to find the teleporter, but first behind it is a chest with a twisted sword inside. The teleporter takes me to another guardian. This one has 1700 HP and also takes 4 hits to the feet. The chest this one drops gets me the holy armour. That's all, back to flying. After going through a couple dungeons, I return to Bonnick's shop now I can afford the game's strongest armour, the platinum plate, and the strongest helmet, the platinum helmet. I next get flying northeast to reach the northern continent, a place I couldn't reach at all without Baby's flight. I first land outside the only town on this continent, Pengui. We did meet one of the people from here in Jungo. The first person I talk to thinks Darkbeat's gonna kick Shizan's ass. but Nahani ends up in an argument with him when she says Darkbeat is currently injured and he calls her a silly dragonfly because Darkbeat is invincible. It ends with him calling for his mother, like a coward. South of the town entrance I inspect this snowman to find a living toy Fruz in its hat. This turns an enemy into a block of ice. The town mayor thinks that Shizan is Santa somehow. There's a fishing penguin who sees Shizan and just wonders what he could catch with him if he used him as bait. He thinks he's just caught a fish, but it just turns out to be a living toy, so he gives it to me. Mermaid just does water damage. In the igloo slightly south of him, the owner will let me rest for free. Inspecting his fire will have him let me take a candy bar. In the igloo just south of that one, I can inspect this sack for an apple, but Knight feels guilty stealing. I do not, my 100% comes before all else. Outside I can meet the mother of Pengi, the one I met in Jungo. I also talk to Pengi's siblings to get some backstory on Fruz. Darkbeat gave it to Pengi with the intention that all of them could play with it, but Pengi didn't want to share, so he hid it in the snowman. Well, it's mine now, none of them can have it. That's it for this place, and I get travelling north, facing my first Christis on the way. Next new enemy is a Whipneck. I reach a dead end on foot and have to fly the last little bit of the journey to the Nord Temple. First room is just a straight line north. I then get heading east, battling my first IVs. Killing these grants Baby his final transformation, and also gets Knight to level 176. I enter the next room and follow it around and up the stairs to another. Baby reaches level 176. Then I realise I read the guide wrong and return to the previous room. Instead I go north, battling my first Hydra. There's a chest off to the west with some Obro armour, and I head north some more, splitting off west again for a chest with a wind ring. I keep going north until I reach another screen. This room has a chest with an Obro shield inside. I go back, Knight reaching level 177, and at the southern end of the room go west into another. I go west up a lot of stairs to the next screen where I find the living toy Draken. This one takes half of both the party and the enemy's HP. Bit useless for me right now. I then take that eastern route I abandoned. I face a new enemy this time through, the Tentaclite. It gets Baby to level 177. Out of the tunnels is this long path west and then north to another doorway. It leads to this kind of maze of slippery surfaces. I start with the one directly in front of me and then the one to the east. Knight reaches level 178 and I enter this room to find a chest getting me an Aztec sword. From here I slide down the western slope and enter another for a chest with the living toy Frostall. As the name implies, it freezes everyone. I slide down the slope in front of me and go all the way west to enter another room. It puts me in a pair of tunnels leading to another penguin who gives me a place to rest and save. I head east to the end of the tunnel and it puts me back in the slope room but higher up. I slide down the one in front of me, then the one all the way to the west, the next one on the west and the one after to reach another room with a teleporter inside. I take on the final Guardian with 1700 HP who dies in 4 hits like the others. The chest it leaves behind contains a Holy Shield. That's the full set of Holy Armour collected, but there's still some more things left to do. First I return to Jungo and now I have the money to buy the Platinum Shield, fully equipping me with the game's strongest equipment. Next I return to Rogo's tunnel. He's been digging some more and found me another living toy, Avalanche, which performs an earth attack. My next target is northwest of God's Tower, so while flying by I get to see how it's been completely wiped out with only a bit of the bridge remaining. It can be a bit tricky to find, but it's marked down on the map. One last dungeon for this episode, Kisa Canyon. Part of the gimmick with this dungeon is that the foliage at the top of the screen is covering parts of your view. It can be a pain when I just want to find chests. First I go north to find a chest with a cheeseburger. I get going southwest, facing my first Zane, some kind of floating pregnant seahorse. It gets Baby to level 178. Continuing west leads me to another screen. I keep moving west along the north of the screen to find a passage to the next, but then I spend ages looking for a chest before finding it's about a third of the way along the room, hidden behind the environment. It's an attack sword and I can move on to a third screen. I move north onto a fourth screen where I head west some more and face my first lizard man. I take the first north to find a chest containing a spinach snack. I get going west again to a fifth screen. Then I go west some more into a cave. I follow the path west, making sure to take a quick detour east for a chest with the living toy ninja. This one just attacks with cool ninja skills or something, I never used it. That was the last chest in the game by the way. I then continue to the next screen where at the end is the Holy Dragon, the last remaining sacred servant and what I saw before I was thrown from the Zephyr. She believes I'm part of Kalkanal's group and was in on stealing her stone. She survived Kalkanal's attack and goes for us. She has 1100 HP and goes down in 3 attacks. Nahani feels bad for killing her, even if we were defending ourselves. Inspecting her waters gets us the living toy D'Artagnan, which attacks enemies with a spear. This does explain why she started sinking ships. She was looking for the travelling group that stole her stone and wanted to get rid of them before they could gather the rest. I return to Zeppeto's house, where he says he's working on one last living toy that will be finished by the time I find the others. I'm confused, as I was certain D'Artagnan was the last one I needed, so I get looking through a list and compare to what I have, and remember when I said I missed something in the Artema Church in Garum? Yeah, I got distracted by the Infinite Spinach Snack statue and forgot to go for the chest in the opposite room. This one gets me Championo, who takes half of my maximum PP in exchange for insane damage. I return them to Zeppetto, who asks to see them all. He says he never thought he'd see them again, but when Nahani says she thought his grandfather made them, he tells the truth. He is the original Professor Zeppetto and hands us his final creation he's been working on for years, Legend. We'll see Legend next episode. He's basically a ghost, clinging to the living world after death to finish his life's work, but with that he can move on. O'Neill says it makes sense, Zeppetto never had children. And that's what I meant last episode when I said there was a hint of sadness to his house's theme, and as soon as I got to this part I realised why. At first it's just the cosy music of this grandfather figure who makes toys for you, then you realise it's the theme of a long dead man who can't move on yet, not through some lingering resentment or need for revenge or anything like that, but due to his will to help people, spending decades in seclusion to try to make the world a safer place. This is a very simple game, but there are some things below the surface if you want to find them. I'd end it here, but there's one last thing to do. With these 69 living toys, please don't, obtained, I return to Knight's house in Orgo village and go to sleep. And when I wake up, there's suddenly a 70th living toy next to my bed. Nahani says they found it years ago when they were playing by the beach. O'Neill says that it's a prototype Zeppetto made after he made Championo. It was even more destructive and he named it Peacemaker. It was thought that Zeppetto destroyed it because it was too powerful. Nahani believes he tried but couldn't bring himself to. Peacemaker reduces all participants in the battle to 1 HP. And that is almost everything done in this game. I really enjoyed the world tour we had, getting new stuff in old places, new dungeons, the endgame plot in general, and the resolution to Zeppetto's story. Next time we'll be finishing this game, maxing out all the remaining item counts and taking on Shizan.